Hey guys, welcome back to Plow and Pantry. Today we are finishing up the Every Bit Counts challenge. If you are not familiar with the Every Bit Counts challenge, that is a challenge put on by Rivers Homestead, which I will link below. You can also find other participants by searching the hashtag Every Bit Counts challenge. And it is just a challenge to preserve something every day in August. And you may be like, well, it's the beginning of September. Why are you doing this video? Because I wanted to finish August and get you the full update on things. And I also like to go back and look at the totals for the month, which I want to bring you today as well. It just makes me feel better sometimes to do that, because sometimes during the month you're like, oh, I'm barely just getting this done, or I'm gonna just do that one little small amount or one little simple thing just to say I did something today, and you don't feel like you're getting much done. Or you look out at the garden and you're like, there's so much left to do. There are so many cucumbers to pick. There are so many green beans to pick. I need to finish picking the corn. I need to preserve more tomatoes. And to be able to look at stuff and be like, I am doing stuff. I'm making progress. I'm getting stuff done. I have spaghetti sauce in jars where every ingredient is something that came out of the garden other than the salt. And that is wonderful to know. So starting off with the last 3 days. So the last video, which you can see all the videos from this year and last year when I participated by looking at my playlist for food preservation. But last video ended on the 28th. So we have the 29th, 30th, and 31st of August to cover. So this is not much. So in the last 3 days, this is what I have gotten done. I finished up August with a lot of freeze drying. I have bell peppers here. I've got 2 quarts. And I just chop these and I just put them in the same jar, because oftentimes when I am using bell peppers, it really doesn't matter what color, but they are semi-silver. So I've got like some red ones here and some green ones. And then this quart has green, and then these purple ones at the bottom. A little bit, I don't know if you can see the lighter color yellow. Those are some banana peppers actually that I picked. And just getting them chopped and onto the freeze dryer was easy, quick. And I really enjoy using bell peppers this way in the winter. I usually don't even rehydrate them if I'm putting them in I'm sauteing them into something, or I'm putting them in a soup. I just toss them right in, and I let whatever liquid is in that thing kind of rehydrate them on their own. So it's an easy thing to do. When those came out, I turned the freeze dryer right around and I did a small batch. This is some salad-sized tomatoes, which is funny that they all look orange because they really weren't. This is a quart of tomatoes. I've got a lot of my favorites. A lot of them are orange. My favorites are orange Proust. And so there's a lot in here. There's also a couple of like yellow pear and a couple of red ones that just kind of look orange. They're just like a dark orange is what they look like after the freeze drying, but they were red. These are also something that I enjoy using in the winter. I made them for the first time last year. And again, I don't even bother to rehydrate them. I toss them in a skillet with a little bit of broth, and like I'll saute like butter with onions and garlic, and then toss a little broth in these in and mix it either with pasta or chicken or something. And it's an easy thing. And then I throw in some other freeze-dried herbs like my freeze-dried basil, stuff like that. And it just is an easy, quick sauce for something. Then I had some peaches here. This doesn't look like a lot. This is dehydrated. These are chopped peaches. My mother-in-law went to visit some family in South Carolina and came back with a few things from a farm stand there, and South Carolina peaches are delicious. And so I just cut them and dehydrated them, and these took several days. The dehydrators are not like airtight, kind of like the freeze dryer vacuum seals. Dehydrators have kind of a loose door with a lot of air escape, which is part of how they work. And it was very humid, and so this took several days just to dehydrate those. And it wasn't very many. We just ate some of the peaches, and I made peach lemonade for my family again because they love that. But I will use these when I make peach tea over the winter. And somebody asked about that. I just combine it in a loose leaf tea thing with tea, like loose leaf green tea, or if I have another herbal one that goes well with it or something, I just toss it in there. And then we have zucchini, of course, again. Now, one of my zucchini plants died, and if you saw my garden tour the other day, I can link that for you. You saw that one, and my other one's still alive. So I don't have that much zucchini, which is fine, but here's the funny thing. Last week, I had shredded and frozen 4 of these quart bags of zucchini, thinking that I had not yet done that this summer. And then when I went to put them out in the deep freezer, there were other bags that I did the first week of the Every Bit Counts challenge. it was just funny. So I had zucchini coming in the garden this week, and it wasn't that much, and I didn't want to make something with it, and so I was like, well, I don't really need any more frozen shredded zucchini, but I'm just going to do that because it was easy to just stick them in the food processor, stick them in the bag, and freeze them. So zucchini, 2 more bags of zucchini added. I'm gonna have to make extra zucchini bread this winter, I think. So here is the fun part. Yay! When I am just stressed out about what I'm not getting done, I like to make the totals for the month, and this is what took me a couple days. So I decided not to go get everything like out. I had put everything away at the end of each week's video, and I didn't want to go pull it back out and out of the freezer and stuff and make a big pile. So I will just bring back pictures from previous weeks, but to facilitate this part, the total final counts, I divided everything, instead of what I made each week, I divided into the type of preservation I did. So for canning during the month of August specifically, we got done 11 quarts of spaghetti sauce, 4 pints of black beans, 3 quarts of ugly chicken, that's the raw pack chicken, 20 pints of ugly chicken, that's a lot of chicken, which I'm super excited about, 6 quarts of chicken broth, 9 pints of diced tomatoes, 7 pints of tomatoes with green chilies, which is like rotel, 3 pints of dill pickles, 4 half pints of roasted green chilies, I did little jars and the 8-ounce jars, and I just combined them. It was like 6 of the quarter pints and 1 half pint, so 4. 2 quarts of cran apple juice, 4 half pints of sweet pickle relish, 1 cup of peach cinnamon maple syrup, and 1 pint of lemon bay pickle green beans, which those I did the first week, and I don't think I came back to talk about them. The lemon bay pickle green beans were something that were experimental. It was a recipe I came across, and I hadn't tasted them at that time, and I think I said I'd get back to you. So here's what happened with those. They tasted good, and they looked flimsy in the jar, but they were actually had crunch, which shocked me. But they had a, how do I say this? The center of them to me got slightly slimy, kind of reminiscent of the center of okra, which I don't like. Now, if you like okra just fine, you might really love that recipe because they did taste good. They really did. And I was really shocked at how much crunch they had because it didn't look like they'd have any crunch, but I just didn't like that texture. So that was the canning. Freeze drying. I actually did not do as much freeze drying this year as I did last year. I freeze dried 4 gallons of cooked shredded chicken, 2 gallons of peach slices, 1 pint of peach powder, 1 gallon of Honeycrisp apple slices, 2 quarts of bell peppers, and 1 quart of the cherry tomato mix. For dehydrating, I dehydrated more this year than I did last year. I dehydrated 1 pint of garlic powder, 1 pint of onion powder, change that, half a pint of garlic powder. It was an 8-ounce jar, half pint of garlic powder, 1 pint of onion powder. That's 2 of those 8-ounce jars. A half pint of calendula flowers. I use that for medicinal salves. A half pint of minced onion, 4 quarts of zucchini chips, which all those were snacks that are gone now. 1/4 pint of marigold petals. I use those in a rice pilaf, and some of them made it into my chicken treat jar. A pint of chicken winter treat mix that go in my jar, and a half pint of diced peaches. So this is a pint jar, so it's about half full. Half pint of diced peaches that I will use for herbal tea in the winter. So that is canning and freeze drying. On to freezing. I froze a lot this year because it felt lazy to me. It is not lazy to freeze, it's still food preservation, but it's fast, and so it was something that I ended up doing. 1/2 gallon of sliced cucumbers that I want to put like in infused waters over the winter. 9 quarts of frozen shredded zucchini. 4 quarts of cooked rice pilaf. Those are like lunch prep things. 1/2 gallon of chicken trimmings. I will use those sometime to make more chicken broth. That was done during the week that I was all chickened out because I was processing 40 pounds of chicken, and by the time I got down to that last pot, I was like, I'm not doing this. I put them in the freezer. I'll finish another time. A cup of chopped green chilies. I was canning green chilies, had some left that didn't fit in the canner, but didn't want to do another load, so I just tossed them in the freezer. A gallon of chopped peeled peaches are frozen. We use those during for smoothies, muffins, things like that. and 1 quart of diced onions from the garden. So I just pull those out. Again, don't fry them, just toss them straight in whatever I'm doing. I like to use them with the diced green peppers in omelets half the time. So then I didn't know what to call this next category, refrigerated maybe. These are things that are fermented or I didn't can, I just kept them in the fridge. So a half gallon of grape juice. I got my steam juicer, I pulled my Concord grapes off the vines and made grape juice, and it made a half gallon. A quart of cucumber kimchi, that's how I did some of the cucumbers. A half gallon of cabbage kimchi, 1 quart of sauerkraut, and 10 pints of refrigerated dill pickles. And I think I'm gonna end up making more refrigerated dill pickles because my kids really like those. They like those. I really don't want to take up extra fridge space. Luckily, we have an extra fridge in the garage, so I can, but I really want the shelf-stable ones, but my kids really like the fridge pickles. They just really like them. So that is what we got done. It is cool to look back at 3 pages. I mean, they're not full pages, but still, to look back at stuff and be like, I did get all this done. When I felt like I should have been doing more, I was still getting stuff done, and that feels good. It feels good to look at something like sweet relish or spaghetti sauce or dill pickles and look at it and be like, this does not have junk in it. This is not shipped with 20 different ingredients from 20 different places in the world to one place where it's made and then shipped back out. This is like, there are so many ways where growing your own food and preserving your own food, even if you don't grow it, just saves, has an environmental impact, and the health impact, just even simple things that in the store, like when I made this peach powder, if you were to buy something like this in the store, it would have anti-caking agents in it or something like that. And it's just nice to know that the food I'm serving my family is actual food and it doesn't have the stuff in it. And it took a long time to get to the point where like every ingredient other than salt, sugar, vinegar, that's about it. You know, there's very few things that go into those kinds of things that you can't grow. Like in your diced tomatoes, it's just diced tomatoes. Lemon juice, I didn't grow my lemon juice. Lemon juice I bought at the store. But it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me this year for the Every Bit Counts Challenge. It has been fun, mostly fun on the tail end to look back and see what got done. I'm still doing food preservation. I'm still gardening. It is still 80 something degrees outside today. I think that my weather app changed this morning. It said it was gonna be in the high 80s all week. And I think this morning, like just right before I turned this on, that it changed to saying that later in the week, we're gonna drop into the high 70s. And I am like, because not only am I ready for it to not roast, I am ready to slow down a bit. You know, that's what I love about the seasons. They all have their rhythm. So if you stick around, if you subscribe to the channel, you'll still see me gardening, harvesting, preserving the food, and making recipes with the stuff I pull out of the garden. So I hope you'll join me for future videos. I'll see you guys next time.